Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Varun Kapur Show. Today, I'm truly honored to have someone who has spent his career at the intersection of technology, innovation, education, and global impact. My guest today is Dr. Guy Diedrich, Senior Vice President and Global Innovation Officer at Cisco, where he leads the Digital Impact Office. His work goes beyond technology as he collaborates with governments, industry leaders, and communities across the globe to harness the power of digital transformation, create opportunities for the workforce of tomorrow, and build innovation or innovative ecosystems that drive meaningful economic and social progress. In addition to his leadership at Cisco, Dr. Diedrich serves on the board of Cisco Foundation, helping support organizations that use technology to address some of the world's most pressing challenges. Before joining Cisco, he served as the vice chancellor at the Texas A&M University, leading research, commercialization, and strategic initiatives. He's also an entrepreneur who successfully built and scaled a technology company from ground up before leading it through a successful acquisition. With degrees from Texas A&M University, the University of Cambridge, and Swansea University, along with decades of international experience, Guy brings a rare combination of academic insight, business leadership, and a passion for using technology to improve lives. Guy, thank you so much for joining us, and it's an honor, a pleasure for me, to have you in the studio.
Yeah, thank you, Varun. Great to be with you.
And I'm really looking forward to this podcast because personally, I have seen the amount of work, the kind of work that you do at Cisco, and I'm really, when I reached out, I was really happy when you said yes, because the story that you bring to our listeners is something that really needs to be, communicated outwards to other leaders so that they can get inspired and they can really learn from what you've been doing. So, really looking forward to this podcast. But before we talk about your favorite topic, everybody's favorite topic, AI, innovation, the future, take us back to the beginning. What first sparked your fascination with technology?
Well, it goes back to high school, where I was introduced to software, where I was introduced to computers, where I was introduced to programming. My dad brought home an old computer now, but it was brand new then.
I'm sure.
And had a great time with it, learned how to code, and then got to college. And back then, again, this was in the mid 80s. The only thing that they taught at university was Fortran and COBOL, and they did that in business analysis courses. Mm-hmm. I remember it was BANA 217 was where you learned how to program back in 1984, 85, and of course it wasn't very useful. So we would get together and sort of take over the computer lab after hours. And that's where we honed our skills. And so everyone that I was with, including me, was self-taught. And then when I graduated, I started a software company. We did process optimization software, and that's the one that you referenced in the intro, where we were able to grow it from a startup to about 130 programmers. Nice. In London, Atlanta, and Dallas, and we were able to sell it in '98, just before the crash.
Oh, wow.
My fascination with technology goes back to my dad introducing me to a computer back in high school.
Got it. Oh, so it's a long journey, and I'm sure you're also in awe of how it has transformed, how it has changed, how it has across various industries. You've been in academics, of course, you're in technology right now. But I'm sure there has been a lot of learnings, a lot of lessons throughout that journey. You've seen it all. I mean, talking about mid 80s, I don't think there was this kind of technology available at that point of time. Of course, self-learned, self-taught. That was the thing. But right now, everything is online. But during that journey or during that time frame, has there been like one specific lesson that has stayed with you throughout your career that you still kind of feel this was a great learning for me?
Yeah, it really goes to a thread of continuity throughout every part of my career, and from startup to academia and now into Cisco, and that trust is the foundation of every relationship. My area of academic interest for the years that I was in academia and through my PhD was the economic value of trust in organizations. And that stemmed from the fact that, we were a small software company and we were out there competing against IBM and back then it was Anderson Consulting, now Accenture.
Okay.
And we would win our fair share. Nice. I was always fascinated why. And it was because people trusted us. They trusted that this small company would be able to do it, that we would come through, we would do whatever it takes. And then we would have their backs. And at the end of the day, trust became foundational to every relationship we built. That has been the case throughout the startup, throughout academia, not just with students, but with researchers and other colleagues. And then into Cisco, where we run a program that is founded on trust called Country Digital Acceleration, where we literally work with presidents and prime ministers and ministers from 57 countries around the world. Wow. And if you don't have that foundation of trust, you'll never be able to succeed in working with them or anybody else, really. Right. That thread of continuity of trust is everything.
Got it. And, of course, working for Cisco, Cisco is known for building that trust, that not just the networking company that it used to be, but now it's being trusted on the AI front as well. And of course, everybody's favorite topic, which is AI. How can we not talk about that as well in this conversation? But I'm sure you're looking at not just Cisco, but you're looking at even our competitors as well. Or let me just say anybody who is kind of venturing into AI. If I have to ask you, there are companies which are experimenting with AI, but then there are other companies that are truly transforming with AI. So if I ask you, what would be the distinction or what separates them between the two?
I think first and foremost, those that are having the greatest success are those that have a bias for action. That is, that they are prepared to take some risk and to try some new things. I think that the smartest companies also have set up some guardrails for themselves. So the ethical AI standards by which Cisco operates are an example of that, and there are other companies that do that. But you can't increase the speed limit without guardrails.
True.
And so they have to happen in equal measure, not so that you regulate to the point of stifling innovation. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about regulation, about guardrails that allow for safety at speed. Exactly. And so the companies that have that invested in it early, like Cisco, are going to have tremendous amounts of success. And really, I think the third is those companies that invest in skilling their workforce around AI. Because what you can't do is look at AI and say, okay, if we get a 10% improvement in productivity using AI, boy, that's going to be the best we can do. Yeah. That comes from a lack of skilling. When people really genuinely understand the power of AI and how transformative it can be, they're not just going to be improving on existing processes. They're going to be rethinking the processes altogether.
Exactly.
But that comes with skilling. And it also is going to allow for them to be more accepting of AI, because there's a lot of skepticism, a lot of fear out there. And the more educated people are about how to use AI, the power of AI, the proper use of AI, the more comfortable they'll be.
True, true. And, I've whichever room you go in, whichever meeting, be it personal, be it professional, be it with your kids, everybody thinks this is like an AI bubble. And they don't know when it's going to burst. I don't know if it's a bubble or not, whether it's going to survive or not, but, only time will tell. What's your take on that?
Yeah, it's not a bubble.
It's not.
It's not. Now, let's separate the technological evolution from the markets. The markets can create bubbles. They bubble that burst. And bottom line is that AI is here to stay, because AI is a stair step to the next evolution of technology and the next one after that.
Right.
What's going to happen with AI is that it's in the process of being embedded in everything right now. We don't even know it. It's just there.
Yeah.
And it's going to become invisible. And then we're going to be moving on to the next technology and the next transition. But there's, in a sense of technological evolution, there is no bursting of the bubble. There is no AI disappears.
Got it.
AI becomes invisible because it's being used by everyone and embedded in everything.
I agree. And, I was just reading an article yesterday. There are companies that are building these robots. Even Elon Musk is building those, robots and all that based on AI, and how they're going to transform every single thing that you do at home. I mean, you would literally be just a couch potato. That's what they said, that you will just be sitting on a couch. There'll be AI things, everything managing, but we'll see. But let me just kind of double tap on that. Then you talk about overall AI. How is Cisco positioned in this kind of evolution?
Remarkably well. I mean, we're at the core of the AI evolution. Cisco's interesting because I was a customer back when I had the software company. Again, this was mid-90s sort of thing. So Cisco was kind of getting its swagger. And Cisco was the only game in town to speak of. Maybe there was some white label stuff or whatever, but for the most part, Cisco was it. And that remains relevant today. 80% of the world's traffic on any given day passes through Cisco equipment. We built the internet. We built the network. Mm-hmm. And when you look at refresh, you look at the things that G2 is bringing online right now through his teams, we're rewriting the book. But that foundation of Cisco being the backbone of the world's communication capability is the great advantage, and it's the thing that's going to keep Cisco relevant. We're going to keep innovating. I mean, G2 and Chuck have got us on a path that I don't think anybody else recognizes how important it is.
True.
When you couple the network with the embedded security, that is wholly unique. And I'm talking end-to-end security, because we don't know what end is going to be the future and what end is going to be after that, right? The ends keep changing because the evolution keeps changing. When it's embedded in the network, it doesn't matter. Yeah. We've got you covered. So I think Cisco is going to probably be, when one of the analysts in the earnings call, which if you guys don't listen to the Cisco earnings calls, I highly recommend you do. First of all, they're entertaining, but they're hugely informative.
Right.
There's an analyst that is very established, very respected analyst that has been both a fan and a critic of Cisco over the years, but maybe he's one of the most knowledgeable Cisco analysts on the planet. Mm-hmm. When he greeted Chuck with his first question, it was, "Well, welcome back to 1999." and all of us that heard that knew exactly what he was referencing. It feels that way. It feels like, okay, Cisco's going to go out and establish the foundation, that the network, the backbone again. Here we go.
Perfect. No, I can definitely, being part of Cisco for a while now, I have seen how things have changed. I still remember those days of John Chambers, and now Chuck Robbins, and with G2 adding, to the fire drills that we see, especially in the AI space, it's amazing. This is the new Cisco. This is the new, league. Now we're talking about a lot about AI, right? I mean, if you have to list like one AI use case that's really kind of blown your mind that maybe you thought that was simply not possible, what would what comes to your mind?
I think anything AI related to medicine right now is just fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a human in the loop. And take radiology, for instance. You have a PET scan, a CT scan, an MRI. Having AI do an analysis of that first before the human eye hits it has proven to be extraordinary. I mean, the things that AI can spot. Where I think we're going with once quantum comes online, with literally having a digital twin of each one of us. Not something that's unaffordable, not something that's impossible, something that's just standard.
Right.
Just like we go in and we get our flu shot, you're going to have a digital twin because it's going to allow you to do autologous cancer vaccines and a variety of other things. It's going to be extraordinary. Yeah. And AI is the foundation for all of that. It's what I was saying before. AI is just the springboard for the next transition and the next one after that. Yeah. So it's very exciting, especially around medicine.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there was something about a month ago, a doctor sitting in I think it was in US, using AI, using all the technology, doing a kind of surgery in a very remote area somewhere in Africa. It's the video itself is fascinating to watch, and the way this AI is gonna transform everything, not just medical, every other field, is really magical.
Well, just think about this, right? So I come from an academic research background, and I can't tell you how many hours I used to take back in the day reading through journals, trying to find relevant articles to be able to build up refuting or supporting the research I was doing, and sitting at a copier and making copies of it so I'd go back with a highlighter. And today, imagine this. All of the information in the world is available at our fingertips.
Absolutely.
There's no more searching through journals. You ask a question, and all of the information that's out there in the world is accessible, and whatever LLM or whatever you're using brings you that information and presents it to you.
Within seconds.
So that leads to the question, though, right, around skilling. When you have access to all of the information in the world at your fingertips, what's going to become the most important skill? Asking the right questions, which is fascinating because that's the domain of the humanities.
Right.
And those of us in academia, when the decade I was in academia, we saw a 30% decrease in interest in the humanities in terms of people that wanted to study the humanities as a major. We thought it was gone. And we saw a commensurate increase in the number of students that wanted to study engineering, that wanted to study computer science, the hard sciences.
Exactly.
And now we're starting to see what I love to refer to as the revenge of the humanities. The humanities are coming back to relevance because the information's there. And it's not going to be about answering the question, can we? Because moving forward, the answer is probably going to be yes.
Exactly.
Should we is a much different question and a much harder question to answer. That's the domain of the humanities. But our technologists, our engineers are going to have to be able to answer that question.
Yep. And that definitely will be a key question to answer. Of course, we keep on talking about AI, but any other emerging technology outside of this AI space that you believe will become transformative in addition to, of course, what's happening
No,
in AI.
of course, quantum. Quantum is we're right on the heels of it, right? So what we're seeing the transition from AI to agentic AI, and that happened seamlessly and very rapidly. You now have quantum, which is not going to be a 2035 thing. It's going to be a 2028, 2030 thing.
Wow.
So you're going to see by 2030, I really genuinely believe in the next 4 years, you will see the emergence of quantum in a significant way. And to me, that's the transformation, because quantum is it's a complete rethink of everything. What do I mean by that? I mean the fundamental mathematics of our technology ecosystem will change with quantum. It's no longer binary. It's no longer ones and zeros. It's no longer the fundamental foundational mathematics of the digital age. We're talking about completely different math, completely different capabilities. It's going to be invisible to most people because most people don't care about the foundational math.
Exactly.
But they're going to understand the difference. It's what I used to be told when I was trying to understand quantum back in the 2005, 2006 timeframe. A physics professor told me, listen, don't ask the how, ask the what. The how, there's a handful of people on the planet that understand the how, and you're not one of them. The what is what matters. Right. Now there's a lot more people that understand the how today, but still it's the what that's so exciting. So I think it's coming quickly. I mean, just look at what Cisco has done with the universal quantum switch. You know, you've got all of these different companies creating their own quantum solutions and their own modalities that don't talk to each other. We've just created the universal translator. All of those modalities come in and can talk to each other. And it's because of the Cisco Universal Quantum Switch.
Yep, and that kind of also made a lot of noise as well when we talked about, or we launched that maybe 6 months or sometime back. So I can in this conversation itself, the way you're talking, right, I can already see that excitement. That I mean, I don't see any nervousness, which is a good thing, but of course the excitement. But if I have to ask you, do you think this is the most exciting kind of decade in the human history, or do you think this is more like a most disruptive kind of phase?
That's a really good question, because I think it's both. It's so exciting because of what's possible. You can imagine a future today that you could not have imagined 10 years ago.
Exactly.
And it's extraordinary. You can see the speed at which innovation is evolving, and it's exciting. At the same time, if we don't act responsibly, things could get destructive very quickly. I mean, just if you look at some of the things that have come around most recently about knowledge with LLMs that are talking to each other. Literally, they are talking to each other. They're creating their own languages that we can't decipher. I think most recently I read that one study found that they formed a religion.
Wow!
I mean, it's a variety of things that we've just got to put up some guardrails, and we have to attend to them. And I think industry working together with government, some intervention, is going to be the way forward. But you cannot stifle innovation. It's a race. People say, oh, no, it's a marathon. No, it's not. I'm telling you right now, it's a sprint. Do you know the shelf life of skills today? The shelf life of skills is 18 to 24 months. It's essentially Moore's Law. Remember Moore's Law? Doubling a processor speed every 18 months with a halving of the cost. It's Moore's Law applied to our entire industry today.
Right. And I think this is going to change. I mean, 18 months, I think it's the way we are running, or we see companies running. I think it's going to reduce to 6 months. Every 6 months I see, and all these different models, the LLMs that are coming up. Sometimes, to be honest, I also get a little scared because for our kids, for our future generations, right? What does it mean for the academics? When we were kids, when we were studying, I mean, that made a lot of sense. It was relevant. Right now, I don't know how relevant it would be, as to studying like humanities, for example. You gave a good example, right? I mean, people are coming back to humanities, but what about computer science? Will that be?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So go back to the example of two agents talking to
Yeah.
each other, creating their own language, and problem solving and strategic planning and things like that. Um, that's going to still require human oversight and human intervention, a human in the loop. That's not going to go away. So you're absolutely going to have the technical skills, right? You've got to be able to talk the talk and walk the walk in order to really understand what's happening around you. At the same time, all I was suggesting is that you're going to need this extra dimension of the humanities, of critical thinking, of problem solving, of ethical reasoning, at least some foundation that you can draw from in order to take on some of the biggest challenges we have moving forward.
Got it. Now, you work across different domains, different industries. When you look at like Cisco's customer base, if you could list maybe one or two industries that are adopting AI and they're like really fast adopting AI.
Yeah, so that would be every one of our customers, and I mean that sincerely. So I mentioned the Country Digital Acceleration Program that we run within my group. We are spread across 57 countries. We typically will work with the president and prime minister of that country, president or prime minister of that country, to start the program.
Okay.
And begin execution. Because if they don't buy into it, we're not going to invest in it. Because what we end up doing is we end up taking their national digital agenda, whatever their technological agenda is for their country, and we operationalize it.
Okay.
We break it out into individual project plans, budgets, and execution plans. And we're first money in. So Cisco will invest in the pilot or proof of concept to show something that's never been done before. Or never been done in a way that Cisco is going to do it. And so that's where the innovation comes from. It's pure innovation. If it already exists, if Cisco already has a number one or number two market position, I don't get to invest in it. And we've done this with over 2,100 individual projects across every single vertical imaginable. That's the point. Every single customer is adopting AI. Some more successfully than others, but I will tell you that what the projects that we're working on now, some of the slowest to reform industries are the ones that are adapting and adopting the fastest. I think of ports.
Really? Okay.
Well, I think of ports, for example. A port is not an industry that usually gets rewarded for rapid ecosystem change, but now they do. Because we've been working, for instance, with the Port of Rotterdam for several years now. They want to be the first port to receive an autonomous ship.
Right.
That is a ship that comes in, docks itself, unloads itself, reloads itself, takes off, and goes to the next port without any human intervention other than oversight. Those sorts of things are happening rapidly around the world. We don't see anybody fighting it.
Got it. All right. Since we are almost at the very kind of end of the podcast, of course, I have a little special at the end, which is a rapid fire. But before that, let me just kind of put this question across. Again, you've been in this, 3 decades maybe or more than that. You've seen it all. But looking at the current scenario, how the world is, what do you see or what do you think is one of the biggest challenge humanity is facing right now?
I'll go back to the guardrail discussion, because if we get this right now, if we set that firm foundation of ethical reasoning, of smart application. I think we're poised for greatness as not just a company, but a country and as a world. Because after all, AI is a great liberator. And we can talk about that in another podcast. But the developing world is looking very hard at AI and investing a lot in AI because they think it's a leapfrog opportunity for them.
Right.
And it very well may be. But if we don't get it right, and we go off the path, things go askew, it's going to be a long time to recovery.
That's true.
And so I think that's the biggest concern.
Okay. All right. And before we get into the rapid fire, maybe one thing that you're most excited about for future. It could be AI, non-AI, whatever.
No, I referenced it earlier. Didn't go into any detail, but the human digital twin. To me, imagine having a digital twin. It's only going to happen when quantum becomes mature. But imagine every single human being having a digital twin down to the DNA, down to the genomic level, and being able to address a cancer that is in your body, interacting with your DNA, extracting that, creating a vaccine, and then injecting that in your digital twin to make sure that vaccine goes. It's an autologous cancer vaccine. It's made for your cancer in your body in this moment.
Right.
Going and finding out every single cancer cell and eradicating it. Being able to test that in a digital twin to see, okay, is it killing anything else that we don't mean? Is it having any other secondary effects that we don't want it to have? Wow. When you tweak it and you get it right, and it's just killing that cancer. Now it's probably it's too late for me maybe, but your generation and my children's generation and they're going to benefit from that. I doubt they'll be dying from cancer.
Yep.
It may be something else, but if we have a digital twin, we're going to be able to do all sorts of things.
This thing is already giving me goosebumps because if this happens, which definitely it will, and the way we are progressing, but it's going to really change the human kind of mankind for sure.
Yep.
All right. Thank you for that, and let's get to know a little bit more about the person, the guy, who's looking at not just the transformation, the technology, but also at how the human race is changing. So let's know a little bit more about you. So these are very basic, random, rapid fire questions for you.
Go.
All right, here we go. Are you an AI optimist or an AI skeptic?
I would say I'm an AI realist that edges towards optimist.
Very nice. One technology you wish existed today?
Digital twin. Oh. Well, and a very, very close second, a global translator of languages, where you literally could just, and I know that there are variations of them today that aren't very good at the moment, but they're getting better. I would love, because I travel to 20, 25 countries a year, and I speak English.
Right.
I would love to be able to see what everyone's saying behind my back in their own language.
I don't want to disrupt the rapid fire, but you should try the Meta glasses. I'm wearing these. These are amazing. They have, right now, of course, you're absolutely right. They're not there yet, but they're not that bad.
Really?
You're wearing them. You turn on the whatever translation. So right now, I think there are 3 translations available. I think there's Mandarin, there is French, and there is, I think, Spanish, I guess. It's amazing to see people talking and it's translating to you and you're like real time understanding what they're saying. It amazes me as well. So definitely go for the Meta glass.
to me, that it's just fascinating to be able to, if you could have just the equivalent of earpods that could translate hundreds of languages.
that would be amazing.
It'd be amazing.
Exactly. All right, going back to the rapid fire. Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Jensen Huang, or Satya Nadella. I didn't want to add Chuck Robbins, but maybe Chuck Robbins.
Well, of course, Chuck. Are you kidding?
Absolutely.
Listen. Chuck is a visionary as it comes to where Cisco needs to be doing and where we need to be. And that vision was formed 10 years ago. So it literally has taken that much rigor and perseverance to see it through to where now Cisco is ready for a renewal, a 1999 type renewal. But I will tell you though, from the others, Elon, I think he's a once in a lifetime genius. He is our Edison. I know that's an overused cliche, but the way his mind works and how he can make things go from vision to reality, I think is unmatched.
I couldn't agree more. One book every leader should read.
So I'm gonna use the recency effect here because I just interviewed a very talented person named Brene Brown, and in preparation for her interview, I read her latest book, Strong Ground, and there's a lot of wisdom in that. Especially what it means to stand tall in the pocket, to be a pocket quarterback, a pocket passer. And for those of you in the U.S. that understand football, U.S. football, you'll understand what that means. But it was just so informative to talk to her and to read that book and see how it was described because it's directly relevant for leaders today. Standing tall in the pocket, knowing you're about to get crushed, not being able to see the entire field, but understanding what's happening on the field. That to me was fascinating. And Strong Ground is a very good book.
Perfect. All right. And one of your habits that has had the biggest impact on your success?
It's perseverance. Because when you're in the innovation space, when you're doing academic research, when you do a startup, things don't always go to plan. In fact, quite honestly, they never go to plan.
Never.
So it's taking a shot on goal. If you don't score, lining up to take another one and another and another. It's perseverance, determination.
Got it. I think that's very true in this day and age. All right. Are you a coffee person or a tea person?
Coffee.
Remote work, hybrid work, or office first?
Hybrid, because I travel a lot. I go to 20 plus countries a year visiting different Cisco sites and customers, and I love to be at home when I'm home. Although we have an amazing office here in Austin, Texas, which I love going into. But I also love being in the offices around the world, so definitely hybrid.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree on the, if you're talking about the Austin downtown office, I think I was very surprised because we have two other offices, but when this opened this downtown, I also personally love, whenever I need a little change of landscape, I think it's a beautiful place, beautiful office, location apt, everything is good about that.
Yes.
So, yeah. All right. The next $1 trillion opportunity.
I do think, I'm going to go back to it again, the quantum digital twin.
Yeah.
I think that's so revolutionary, and I think that there's more than $1 trillion in it, for sure.
Absolutely. And all right, one skill everyone should learn in the next maybe 5 years.
Critical thinking, problem solving. That domain, I think that skill set has got to be honed. I don't know that we do it enough. I think AI may try to rob us of some of it, but the human in the loop. I mean, I personally think the more artificial the intelligence, the more important the human. And at the end of the day, you've got to have those critical thinking skills to be able to navigate, certainly, the evolution of technology in my lifetime. You're going to go, think about it. AI, agentic AI, we're already there.
Yep.
Agentic AI to quantum, but they're not going to happen sequentially. They're already happening. It's almost a soup. They're feeding off of each other. You're going to go from quantum to neuromorphic, and then from neuromorphic to whatever's next. It's sort of everything's laid out in front of us.
Yeah.
And what we have to have are the critical thinking skills to be able to navigate that.
Got it. One word that describes great leadership.
Support. No. One word. Support came to my mind immediately as one word. If I can have more than one word, I would say bias for action. When I say support, I mean the best leaders hire incredibly talented people and tell them what hill to take, and then say, go do your thing. Right. And when they need help, they can call, and you're there to support them instantly. You've given them the direction, you've given them the freedom, the autonomy to execute, do what they do best, and then you support them. But then when I talk about bias for action, I'm referencing, you wait around now and you want to try to wait for perfect, you're a dinosaur. It's like that.
Right.
Have that bias for action. When you think you're 70 to 80% of the way there, move.
That's a very good suggestion as well, that people feel, and maybe, again, I don't know if this is relevant here or not, but I'm still gonna say it. When I was starting these podcasts, I was waiting for the best opportunity. Like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do it at that point of time when I think I have honed my skill, or I've done this, or I've done that. And then one day I was like, you know what? That North Star, I don't know when I'll achieve that. Let's just get started. Don't wait.
It's a very quick story. I used to lecture. I had a multi-lecture series in academia, and it was around entrepreneurial economics for engineers. Because engineers, by and large, they walk in a straight line from the time that they're kids all the way through, right? They're math geniuses. They've gotten rewarded for staying in line, for doing everything that they've been told. They get to college. You end up getting into a very competitive engineering program because of the line that you have stayed in, and yet you ask them, how many of your parents in the classroom, how many of your parents or family members have started their own business? And about a third of them raise their hand. And by the end of the class, everyone wants to start their own business. And it's because they realize that stepping out of line is a wonderful thing. Now, not everybody's made for it, right? That's Staying in line is, for some, required. But when you step out of line, you're no longer looking at the butts and the elbows of the person in front of you. It's a green field.
Yeah.
And I tell them to do that at 22. Because they say, well, maybe I should wait and get my first job under my belt or get my MBA or whatever. No. Trust me, I did it. You start at 22, you're going to be up all night half the time, you're going to be worrying about stuff. You can't have people relying on you for their well-being.
Yeah.
If you're 30 and you decide to start your own business and risk your wife, your 2 children, your mortgage, and all of that, shame on you. You need to do it early. And so have that bias for action, but it's absolutely right. Don't wait for perfect.
Yeah, that's a very good, kind of guidance, I think, even for the newbies who are right now, and these, right now, if I talk to a 7th or an 8th or a 9th grader, I have seen these kids also getting in that line right now. And I think it's really high time that they disrupt this and they start early, right after college, during college. And I was also part of this Cisco's event where you were for an internship or an externship actually, talking to these smart kids who already have started building their apps. They're thinking of starting their own startup based on that app. It's fascinating, and you're absolutely right. Don't want to risk your family, your mortgage, and it becomes too risky and too late. Start early. So thanks for that.
And quite honestly, most of when you start a company young, most of what is required is energy, dedication, and discipline. Um, you're already smart. You came up with an idea for a business.
Right.
It's all about execution. And 22, 23 years old is a perfect time to have that energy.
Exactly. Now this rapid fire became a little elaborate, but this was really very important.
There's nothing rapid about it. Sorry about that, Varun.
No, absolutely. This is good. But on the same lines, maybe another rapid question would be, what's more important, IQ or EQ?
Both. I could have said 20 years ago IQ, maybe 5 years ago EQ. Today, a blend, 50-50. You've got to have the brains, but you've also got to have the emotional attachment to people. You've got to be able to understand people. You have to be able to learn how to listen and how to respond in ways that years ago you didn't necessarily have to. But I think it's a blend of the two, IQ, EQ.
Got it. And maybe one last rapid would be, if you were not into technology, what would be your alternate career?
Academia. I love teaching. I had the best time. It was actually hard to leave after 10 years, but Cisco was way too enticing, and the opportunity to build a program like Country Digital Acceleration in an office like the Digital Impact Office was just too enticing a challenge. Again, starting from scratch, building something that never existed before. That to me was one of the most fortuitous things that's ever happened to me in my life professionally. But if I wasn't doing this, I would probably be back in academia teaching.
Got it. Thank you. I'm gonna give you like the last question, and I'm gonna kind of split it into two. But This will be your last question. One, best advice or best piece of leadership advice you've ever received. That's one. So I'll let you answer that, and then I'll give you the second question.
It's two things, actually. The first is never stop learning, never stop questioning. It's that, and it's more true today than it ever has been. You get to a certain point in your career, and you think you know it all. It's time to quit, because you are no longer of service to the company or the people that you lead.
That's true.
I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
That's I think that's one of those that is just a truism through and through.
Absolutely. And the last question for the podcast, if your younger self met you today, what would surprise him the most?
How desperately important family is, because my younger self wouldn't have thought about family, but I've been married going on 37 years.
Wow.
We have two kids. Oh, thanks. We had two kids. She's very patient. We have two kids that are wonderful. We have a granddaughter that is spectacular, and to understand that there is so much more to life than just 8 to 5 work. That there's family would be the thing that would surprise me the most, how important it is.
Perfect. That's a great way to end this podcast as well. Thank you once again, Guy, for accepting this offer to be on the podcast. Thank you for sharing your insights. You've left me inspired for sure. You've also given me more food for thought around my digital twin and how things are going to change. But and of course, people who are going to watch this, who are going to listen it on the podcast, the audio podcast as well, I'm sure they're going to have a lot of insights and inspirational moments during this podcast. And I cannot wait, of course, if you agree, but we would definitely love to have you back again. It would be an honor. But more importantly, for this one, I really am happy that we got to talk about not just AI, but also every other aspect, the human effect, the academics, the overall everything that is happening around the world, and that's transforming right now as we speak. Every single hour, minute, I would say even every single second, things are changing. And I don't know, by the time we get out of this podcast, there might be something new in your inbox and something more exciting. But I wish you all the very best in what you're doing, and I can't wait for another podcast with you in the near future. So,
Thank you, Varun. It's been a pleasure.
no, thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm going to be back again with another insightful conversation with someone maybe not as enterprising as Guy, but definitely someone who could also inspire. So keep watching, keep listening to the Varun Kapur Show. I'm your host, Varun Kapur, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.